Hello, 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 hello. How are we doing? Sound wise. Check, check.
Hello.
Sounds good. Okay, it's 7 p.m. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody had a great week. I did. All things considered, I'm uh, I'm having some kind of an allergic problem. It started about 3 or 4 or 5 days ago. I can't quite figure out what's going on, but something's got into my eyes, and I've been waking up with crusty eyes and all that nastiness the last couple weeks, or the last couple days. I mean to say. So I'm not sure what's going on. If it doesn't clear up here in a little bit, I guess I'll go see the doctor. But I hate to go to the doctor. I like my doctor. I just hate going there. Because that's where all the COVID is. It seems stupid to seek that stuff out. Beep. Okay. So, got some really good questions this past week, and I'm going to share some of those with you. We'll wait a few more minutes for folks to come in. Look over the chat here. Richard's in from Germany. Good morning, Richard. Yeah, we're all wanting spring to get here, that's for sure. It warmed up, and I lost most of my snow. I've got, where it piled up from shoveling. And but we had a couple of days of rain and some 40-degree temps late last week, and it took the snow off like that. It was gone in no time. So, and then but it's been cold. It's been in the low teens at night, in the below freezing during the day. We're no snow for the near future though, which is pretty normal for this area. But Two Feathers is in. Two Feathers and I have had a nice little email chat going this week. She's got some issues she wanted me to look at, so I asked her to send some photos, which is always good. If you want to send questions in advance, you can do so. You can submit them on my website. There is a link in the description for this video for a form that you can fill out, or you could just send me an email at trbolin@gmail.com and attach your pictures or whatever. And it makes it easier sometimes to see things, so I can make suggestions on what might be going on. Let's see. I was teasing Two Feathers. She says she's on a short overnighter. She said she was on a short road trip, and I asked her if she was going to the 7-Eleven. Because I'm a smart butt. Um, anyway, no, she says she's out. I guess her rig's going in to the shop tomorrow. So, and of course, our buddy Aaron's in. Awesome to have you in here, Aaron. Oh, Ron's in. Good evening, Ron. That's RL Bunge. Ron is a longtime viewer. Gosh, what was it, 2 years ago in June, this coming June? Ron and Terry were camp hosts at Blackfoot Reservoir for a number of years. And I guess it was 19, the spring, early summer of 19. I spent 3 or 4 days out at Blackfoot Reservoir with them. We had a great time. Great to have you in, Ron. He says he's watching the rebuild of the truck camper. He says, wow, much needs to be done to that. Trying to remember what you said on why you got rid of the motorhome. Well, there's a couple reasons. First, I have a disabled brother who's going to have to come live with me sooner than later. And I wanted to change the way I travel to be more expedition type based. And when I mean expedition, go out for 3 or 4 days, come back, that kind of stuff. Um, there's a good chance that I might be able to get away for, like a month in the winter, that kind of thing. So that was part of it. Part of it is I've had in my mind now for about 3 years, well, 2 years that I can think of that I've been talking about on my channel, about wanting to get a smaller rig so I could go more places. Particularly places like, I like to fish. Photography figures big into what I like to do when I'm out and about. And the motorhome was just kind of restrictive. I wanted to be able to go to my favorite fishing hole, which you can't go to in a Class A, and be able to spend 3 or 4 days. So that was part of it. And since I bought the house here, I knew that I was going to be changing and not going living full time anymore. And I really wanted a rig to go to somebody that would enjoy it. And you'll see in the chat window, if you're checking out chat, Richard Kirby, who is actually still in Germany, but he bought it. He's been a viewer, and based on what he's seen me do on it over the last 4 years of me being doing YouTube videos, travel vlogging, and as well as my RV how-to, he knew that it had been taken care of, and so he bought it sight unseen. I think that's probably the best. His best strategy was because I'm going to make sure that he's not disappointed. So I actually have. He's going to replace some of the furniture. He's going to replace the couch and the recliner, and they're actually sitting in my garage right now, just waiting for spring. I'm going to do some work in there. I'm going to replace the carpet in the bedroom with the flooring. Oh, which, by the way, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Shucks. Well, I thought I had that setting out, but I finally found the flooring that matches pretty close to what's up front. I was going to show it to you live on camera, Rich, but I'll show it to you next week. I made the mistake. I cleaned. And I put everything away, and now I can't find a damn thing. Okay, so let's get back over to the chat window here, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. Hi, Robert Black. Great to have you here. Tom Downey is in, as is Roundtown Scouter from down in Carlsbad. Two Feathers has asked if my eyes are a booster. Well, I had the booster 3 weeks ago, at least. It was clear back in early December. So I don't think that was it. I don't know. I changed. I changed shampoos. I couldn't get what I normally buy because I guess of this, pandemic, and stuff's just not available. So I changed shampoos, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe there was something in this other shampoo. I changed back today, and I'm hoping that'll clear it up. It might take a day or two, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that that clears up my eyes. I don't think I'm ill. I don't feel ill. I mean, yeah, I don't feel ill. I feel like I need a haircut really, really bad. And now with this Omicron or whatever it is, I'm kind of hesitant to go to the barber. So I might get a little shaggy before spring. Hi, Judy Kimbros in from Alabama. Groove Jet's in. Great to have you here. Ron asks, have I traveled through Canada to Alaska? If so, your thoughts. We are planning for May if the borders don't close again. I have been in Canada all the way to Yukon, but I have not made the final passage from the Yukon Territory into Alaska. I understand that it's actually not too bad. You want to plan your fuel out well. And other than that, I guess it's not too bad. I watch a channel, No Ordinary Path, and it's a couple with some children. They have a travel trailer, and the fellow, the gentleman, is a travel nurse. And so they travel around, and they were up in Alaska this summer, and they made the trip up and back in their travel trailer. And I mean, I think that it's not like it used to be. However, May might be a little early. I would check into that, Ron. That May could be just a tad early. It could be really muddy, ruddy, rough roads, that kind of stuff. Um, I don't know when the frost comes out up there, but that's something you want to avoid. Aaron reminds us that if you see someone here that you don't know, take a moment, and they may have a channel of their own and they would greatly appreciate your subscription for sure. All right, so we're going to talk about the first thing that came in was I got this email from a fellow out in the Adirondacks. Let's see here. And his name was Michael. And he says, altitude issues for propane RV appliances seems to be a common issue, especially for older systems. I understand higher altitude, less oxygen, more propane, less efficient burning, if it works at all. And yes, that's the problem. And to run that down, let's talk about this for just a bit. Technically, there's not less oxygen, there's less air. But as you go up in altitude, gas appliances will be derated. And all that means is that the appliance was engineered, built, and tested for sea level. Okay? And so when you see an appliance that's rated at, say, 30,000 BTUs, like a kind of a typical furnace you would find in an RV, at sea level it's 30,000 BTUs. At 5,000 feet, it might only be 24,000 BTUs. And so the problem is this: with less air, there is the same amount of propane trying to mix with that air, and there is so much propane compared to the air, it doesn't want to burn. Or if it does burn, it burns really inefficiently. So you get derated because of that. Now, one of the things you have to keep in mind when it comes to propane is that the regulator is set to a specific, technically it's called water column. It's a fancy term they use to measure the amount of gas in the air, and you got to have a manometer and all this stuff to set it properly. Okay, so to avoid issues, propane regulators are set to one pressure, and that's typically done at sea level. That's done because the appliance manufacturers, your fridges, your ranges, your whatever, okay, water heater, uh, they're engineered to expect a certain amount of gas. Okay, it's not pressure or volume. Well, it's pressure and volume, a combination of the both. Okay. Well, anyway, what happens is that the manufacturer of the appliance puts an orifice in. The orifice is a little piece of pipe usually, and it has a very tiny hole drilled in it that lets a specific amount of propane into the combustion chamber, wherever that might be. And so if you have less air available, technically less oxygen. When I say less oxygen, the oxygen level at 5,000 feet is 21%, just like it is at sea level. But the density of the air is lower, so there's less air per cubic foot, really is how you measure it. Okay, Tom would know this because Tom's a pilot, and when you get up at 10,000 feet, the air gets kind of thin. When you get to 13,000 feet, you're getting up to the area where you're talking asphyxia, which is, lack of oxygen, starvation for oxygen, and you can die from that. But, so his question was, he has this heating system that, according to the forums, he has a 2017 New Camp Cirrus 820 truck camper. And above 3,000 feet, they're known to have trouble. He's coming out to the west here, to the Rocky Mountains, and he says he might camp at 10,000 feet. And he says he's heard of issues with it not working well, quote unquote, at such altitudes. The company who manufactures the furnace which happens to be a Swedish company, Aldi, offers a valve that you can put in ahead of the furnace that basically restricts the amount of gas flow. All it is really is just a valve. It's just a gate valve with a specific diameter hole drilled in it so that it reduces the amount of gas getting to the appliance, and therefore it will work correctly. But his question was, you can't get that in the United States. And there may be some problems with converting metric and SAE and those sorts of things. Getting it adapted. I don't think the adapting thing is going to be a problem at all. You can find metric to SAE. You can find those kinds of fittings. But he asked about having an adjustable pressure regulator. And that is a really bad idea, because you don't want to adjust the pressure for a specific appliance like that furnace. Well, it's really a glycol heating system, but we're just going to call it the furnace for ease of discussion. But if you adjust the pressure for the furnace, you don't know how that's going to impact the other appliances, your fridge, your water heater, your range. Now, my personal experience has been that at 6,500 feet in my RV, in Rusty, my Class A, the water heater would start to not be able to bring the water up to temperature. I never really ever had problems with my stove. And in fact, you probably will rarely have problems with your stove at altitude. The fridge, you're probably going to find that your fridge won't cool as efficiently. And you may also find, like I found, that my water heater didn't heat as efficiently, and your furnace may be severely derated to the point that it may not be able to keep your coach or your rig warm. So that's the issue with changing the pressure. You can change the pressure and reduce the amount of gas flow, but you need very specialized equipment to measure that. And you would really probably need to have two regulators. What it comes down to, and I guess I've gotten to the point in my life, is that is the effort worth the return? That's a lot of work. If you're going to be spending a lot of time camping at altitude, then maybe you can get another gas regulator. You can have a qualified gas technician adjust it to whatever altitude you think you want to, what altitude range you want to be in, and then maybe carry a second regulator that you could put in and adjust it such that all the appliances. It would be very difficult. Again, because you don't want to change the regulator too much, because you don't know how it's going to impact the specific appliances down the line. I lived at 7,500 feet for a while, and I know that the professionals up there would change the orifice, okay, to adjust an appliance. So I had to have a furnace replaced, and it was propane. And they came in and they put it in, and they had the meters and everything, and they set it up for that altitude, and all they did was change the orifice size. It's similar to having, say, a gas cooktop, and a lot of times gas cooktops are adjustable either for propane or natural gas, which is methane. The reason you have to adjust them is because propane has more heat energy. We're really getting in the weeds here, but I'll try to make this quick. Methyl ethyl propyl. Propane has 3 carbon bond chains. Methane has 1. Every time you break one of those carbon bond chains, you liberate energy, you free up energy. And so propane has about, not exactly, but about 3 times the energy per cubic foot as natural gas. All right, so let's just leave it at that. But so changing the pressure regulator probably will not work. If you're going to be spending a lot of time at altitude, then it might pay to have a second regulator. But overall, if you're only going to be camping at altitude for 2 or 3 days, I would just plan appropriately. No, your furnace isn't going to work. Depending upon what time of the year you travel to something like Rocky Mountain National Park, in the summer, even at 10,000 feet, it only gets down to 50 degrees at night, 48, 45 degrees, something like that. And that's not that bad. We're not talking freezing weather. So, anyway, there's my take on propane. And if you have um, comments about that, then I'd love to hear them. Let's see. Okay. So Ron says they're leaving from Arizona in May. Okay, good. Well, you're probably good. By the time you get that far north, you probably shouldn't have too much trouble. Richard Kirby said they did Fairbanks to Dover, Delaware in a Class A 10 years ago. No problems. Best 30 days. Did it in June. Okay, there you go. So Rich has been down that road. Tom Downey. Oh, Tom was up there a long time. So, he says 99% of Alcan is paved. We were over the road this year. Okay, there you go. So, Ron, it sounds like the Alcan, you're probably not going to have too much trouble with it. Hey, CNS Schoolie Project. Hi, Chris. It's nice to have you here tonight. That's a nice looking fridge he put in. He's building a bus. If you don't know that, go over and check out his channel. But he just put a fridge in. And yeah, so that's, he has a nice, he's doing a bus build. And I've said this before, those of you know this, I'm a build nerd. I love builds. Bus builds, van builds, that kind of stuff. Hi, Tim Myers is in from Ohio. Hello, Tim. Looks like you're getting some cold weather out there. Tom Downey says the best route is the Kazir Highway. Look it up. Okay, there you go. There's a great suggestion. Eat Travel Happy is in. Awesome to have you in tonight. Thank you for being here. Tim Myers asks Tom Downey, is that also the best route from the Great Lakes region? Tom Downey says, over 25 years, we have never had a problem with propane. Personally, I haven't either, other than, like I say, recognizing that at altitude, my appliances didn't work quite as good. I mean, my hot water heater still made hot water. Well, it could have been a part two that was cold. This was like October. Yeah, it was October. I was at Henry's Lake State Park, which is about 20 minutes from West Yellowstone. And we got snow, and the inlet water, the water temperature was low. The inlet water temperature to the water heater was 50 degrees, and I had it set to 104, and it just wouldn't raise that water 54 degrees in this short amount of time, because remember, I have tankless. With a regular water heater, with a 6 or a 10 gallon water heater, yeah, you wouldn't have that problem, I wouldn't think. It should heat it in that case. But I totally agree with you, Tom. I think that sometimes people want to overthink things. It's a great question. In fact, I was just having this discussion with another fellow the other day about derating appliances. And by the way, the derating applies to your generator as well. So, for example, let's say your generator at sea level is rated at 8 kilowatt hours. Let's say 10 kW. But at 5,000 feet, you might only be able to get 7,500 kilowatts out of it. Because, again, propane and gas, when I mean gas, I mean gasoline, generators have more of a problem than diesels do. But yeah, that's I would agree. I rarely have any problems with my propane appliances. Aaron mentions propane has more moisture in it, O2. The reason it can, but the reason it generates more moisture is it takes more oxygen to burn. So it takes more oxygen to break those bonds down in a propane molecule than it does in a natural gas, methane. If I say methane, can we all agree that's natural gas like you would get from the gas company? And that's a single carbon. So it takes less oxygen to burn uh, natural gas than it does propane because of the difference in the chemical structure. By the way, here's a kind of a fun side line. Do you know why diesels get better mileage than gas? Because the diesel molecule, the diesel carbons, there's I think up to 36 carbons in diesel, whereas in gasoline, I think the largest molecules are like 22 carbons. And so you have every one of those carbon bonds when you burn fuel, whether it be firewood, natural gas, or diesel, generates energy when it decomposes. And that's where you get the energy from is by burning it, it adds enough energy to decompose the molecule, which generates more energy. But the long and short of it is, yeah, if you have less air available, not technically oxygen, but less air available, you're going to get deration, derated appliances, derated generator, those sorts of things. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Aaron, well, thanks for the reminder. It's about time to do the cheap plug. If you like what you're seeing, give me that thumbs up. Those are always greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed, I would be surprised. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Ring the notification bell. Um, that helps quite a bit. A lot of fun videos coming still on the truck camper. I'll be starting to work on Rusty, the old RV that's going to Rich here in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. And of course, the Tuesday night chats will get busier. Spring's coming on. I've noticed that the view count on my channel is picking up a little bit. And so, yeah, it's starting to become springtime. People are starting to get a little bit cabin crazy and want to get out and do some camping. And I don't blame them. I'm with them. I want to get there too. I hope to have the truck camper back and ready to go by April. Okay, back over here to the comments real quick. Oh no, Tim Meyer says, me, wife, son, and daughter all recovering from COVID. No fun at all. Yeah, I know a couple people who've had it and they've been pretty miserable. They've had the Omicron, not the Delta. I guess the Omicron is more like a bad cold, except it lasts like 5 days. Knock on wood, I haven't had it, but I've been pretty careful. I still am wearing a mask when I go to a grocery store. Well, I should say I started wearing a mask. I wasn't, but now I'm wearing a mask again to the grocery store. I went to Home Depot today. I wore a mask. Food Porn Chef says, give it some TLC and put the yellow tape on it or the paste, and make sure all the fixtures are tightly fitted, and be sure to bleed the line of air by lighting stoves and such. Yeah, totally. Did I miss a question from you or a comment from you, Food Porn Chef? Let me scroll back here a little bit. Sometimes I'll skip comments accidentally. I don't see it. Okay. Yeah, and that's true too. Great point, Tom. Tom Downey says, be careful, there are 2 or 3 diesel weights. And that is correct. K1 or number 1 diesel is kerosene, sometimes also known as Jet A. And then there's number 2 diesel, which is what you're going to get at the gas pump. That's what the trucks run. That's what your semis run, is number 2 diesel. And there's actually more than that, but number 3 diesel, you won't typically find. You might find it in Alaska because of some of the heavy equipment that you get, that's up there that might run that kind of fuel. But I think if you stick to your normal gas pumps, you're going to get number 2 diesel. But that's a good point. Good to remember. I can't imagine anybody burning kerosene in their car or in their rigs, the diesel rig, because the stuff's like $7 a gallon at the pump. So, JP8, thanks Tom. Yeah, but it's still kerosene, isn't it? It's still the same kerosene, K1. or 1K, whatever you call it. Hey, John Besmick is in from Michigan. Hi. Sounds like he just made it to Florida. Excellent. It's good to get them old bones warmed up, isn't it? What's on that paper in front of me? This one? Well, this is my uh, desk plotter, but what's on it? Let's see if I can keep it from falling apart. I've got a bunch of paper and stuff stuffed underneath it here, but that can you see that? All right. I was afraid that was going to happen. Let me see if I can do it like this. That is what I did when I got the dimensions and the measurements on the truck camper. Is I went out with my tape measure and I just shot a video of me measuring everything. And then I came in and I watched the video and I just did a sketch on the pad here, and then I just wrote down the dimensions as I called them out in the field, on the video. I just wrote the dimensions down so I could get them into my CAD system. And in fact, I was using it today because I'm looking at potential of replacing the aluminum siding on the truck camper. And I was doing a quick layout to try to figure out. I was going to flip over here real quick if I can get everything organized here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. But let me jump over here and we'll go over here. All right. So what you're looking at there is just an old HP laptop that I'm running a CAD application on, which will remain nameless because I'm probably out of the licensing on it. But what you see here, whoops, come on, is just the two side views. And this yellow square here, if I highlight it, represents a piece of siding. And so what I was doing was I was checking the layout to figure out I need one full-length piece of siding because I'm trying to avoid any seams in the siding anywhere. Okay, the only seams I want are like where window penetrations and that kind of stuff is. And so I'm going to have to order, it looks like I need at least 3 pieces 15 feet 3 inches long. If I go over here and I'll just click on dimensions real quick. Oh, you can't see it from there. Let's see, let's go here. Here's the dimensions. Oops, we're looking at the wrong side. There we go. So there's the dimensions, the rough dimensions of the camper. You see it's 15 feet 3 inches long. The bed length is 9'9". It's listed as a 9.5 footer, but it's 9'9", and it's 7'4" tall. So on and so forth. I think you kind of get the idea of it there. But so what I was doing today, this morning, was I did that layout on there, so I'd understand how many pieces of scrap. Oops, I forgot to do this. How many pieces of the cutoffs I would have to be able to use someplace else, so I don't have to buy a bunch of 15-foot 3-inch long pieces of this aluminum siding. If I buy it, it's going to come out of Oregon, the Portland area, and depending upon the freight, I'll just drive to Portland and get it. But if the freight's less than what it would cost me to drive there, and that's a day over and then a day back, so I have to figure out a hotel room. Well, I got friends I could stay with over there, so anyway, I might end up driving to Portland. Let's chat about real quick Two Feathers. She sent me an email, and Two Feathers is one of our good friends and regular viewers, and she sent me an email of some stuff. Let's see here. I hate this new Outlook. There we go. That's almost acceptable. So I know this isn't really easy to see, but you can kind of see here, this is her RV, and she's concerned about this. There is some water damage there. There's some leaking going on. Um, and yeah, that's a metal compartment, but yeah, there is some leaking going on in there somewhere, because that's definitely wet. So, but I guess you're going to have that addressed. To me, Two Feathers, it looks like, if you guys can see this seal right here, that's my guess is where it's coming from, is right there. That looks pretty, looks like it's been wet. And so I got to think that it might be seeping underneath that corner. So, yeah. And then, let's see. I don't have that other email handy. I didn't get it open, and I don't want to take the time to go find it. My email is a nightmare right now. But she sent some pictures of some water staining by her AC unit in the top. And yeah, she had suggested that perhaps it was from the wind drifting snow up inside the AC unit, and that's entirely possible. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that that's what it is. Yeah. So she's going to follow up with us and let us know what's going on with it after she gets in for maintenance. Okay, so there's no more jet no anymore. Okay. Aaron Jameson. Oh, the taste of JP5 in the morning. We have not named the truck camper. Tom Hall suggested Susie, Susie. It kind of ties in with the S&S truck camper theme, and I kind of thought that was kind of interesting. Scrappy has been suggested. Bubbles, which I decided sounded like a stripper from a strip club on US 30 in Portland. But it has potential. There was another good one that came in the other day. I thought I forget. I usually have to live with something for a couple months before I get a good name for it. But I like Susie. So that one has potential. Let's see here. Tim Meyer says, I think that was Napalm. Him and those guys are joking about Jet A and all that. Apocalypse Now. Food Porn Chef, that's pretty cool. Thanks, do much so for learning so much from you. Thanks, you're welcome. Thank you, Food Porn Chef. Um, JP8. Okay, so we're getting a little jet fuel education, which would be fine. We'll take 1 second and chat about that. Tim Myers, Aaron's responding to Tim about Navy and a station on carriers. JP5 would get in the freshwater system and you smelled like it all day. Yuck. Tom clarifies JP8 is heavier than JPA. Burns hotter. My Cummins loves it. Don't ask how I know. Okay, well, I won't, except I know that you're associated with aviation, so. Okay, Groove Jet. Another dimension, another dimension, another dimension, another dimension. Do. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I had another question come in that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if this person's in. Maybe they're lurking. I invited them to join us here tonight. And I don't know if they made it in or not, but let me pop over here. I thought I had. Okay. This came in from Alfred Smith. And he says, I just bought a 2016 Oliver travel trailer, and it's in great shape. Beautiful and looks super clean. I'm not getting any kind of bathroom poop stink inside, but I am getting a total intense chemical smell, especially from the bathroom, but also the closet next to it. and it slowly seeps into the cabin at night, making it hard to breathe without smelling that chemical smell. It hurts my lungs. I especially noticed it the first night I slept in the Oliver, as the bed is above where the black and gray water hoses are below it. The first night I could not sleep with my head on that side of the trailer, so I slept and da-da-da. By the fourth night, my reaction to the chemical intensified and I could not sleep at all. My dog did not like it either. He says he did use some baking soda and vinegar after the first night to try to get rid of the smell, but that did not seem to work. I'm going to pause right there. Use vinegar or use baking soda. Do not use the two together at the same time. Because if you do, all you're making is carbon dioxide, and that's not going to do anything to clean the tank or to deodorize the tank. You either want the vinegar by itself or you want the bicarb by itself. Okay? That's super important. Because if you put the two together in the tank, you're going to make carbon dioxide and you're wasting your money and your time. All right. So, back to this email. He says, I'm not using the bathroom toilet as I do my toiletry things in the house. He comments, it is being remediated for mold, which is why I bought the trailer. Bummer. Anyway, I do not know what chemical the former owners used, but the smell is intense. My gardener checked it out for me, and he was like, you can't sell it with it smelling like that. It was that intense, so it is not just me. So please, might you have any suggestion on how I might remove the chemical smells? The borax Dawn in 2 gallons of hot water, let it sit for a few hours, flush it out, and so on and so forth. I read one fellow who said his wife used some sweet-smelling stuff that bothered him at night until they used the BioGeo method, and it worked like a charm. Could it be anything else? Thank you so much, Alfred. Okay, Alfred. That's a super great question, and I love the detail, except we're missing one thing. What does it smell like? Is it a bleach smell? Is it a medicine-y smell? It could be a couple of things. If it's the tanks, it's easy enough to treat them, and I would recommend that not use the borax, but if it's a chemical smell, I would recommend bicarb, sodium bicarbonate. If you have a Costco in town, sometimes Costco has the big 5-pound bags, and what I want you to do is get a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with warm or hot water, and dissolve as much sodium bicarbonate in that water as it will hold. So add a little stir, add a little stir, add a little stir, and just keep stirring until that thing will not even take 1 more ounce of sodium bicarbonate. Then fill your holding tanks, add half of that bucket to your black tank, add half that bucket to your gray tank, and then let it soak at least 24 hours. Longer is better. And then flush. Flush them out, add more water, flush it out. You want to fill the tanks full, flush them out. Okay? If that doesn't work, then try vinegar by itself. Using at least a gallon of vinegar in each tank. Fill the tank with fresh water, add a gallon of vinegar to the gray tank and the black tank. Let it soak at least 24 hours. Longer is always better. Okay? Then flush it out and try that. The borax is not going to take a chemical smell out, nor will the Dawn. The borax in Dawn is built to oxygenate the water and to help remove the solids that are in the tank. By adding the sodium bicarbonate, we're trying to neutralize whatever chemical might be in that tank. Now, here's an aside. If after you treat it, you still have the smell, then I would be concerned that you say you're sleeping over where your hoses are. You might need to replace that hose. You need to flush out, if it's one of those carriers like that's in the bumper, and in fact, I think in that one of those pictures that we got from Two Feathers, Let me pop over here and look real quick. But if it's one of those that has the, no, maybe it's something else I was looking at. But you know, under the bumper, they have like a square tube, and you hide the hose in a square tube under the bumper. Make sure you scrub that out really well because it can get contaminated. And then if it's still smelling, you might have a leak, and it's at that point it's really hard to tell. You're going to probably need some professional help unless you're really bold. And you can dig into the compartments where the tanks are. It's very limited access, very limited visibility, and also very tight, and also very costly to start removing those tanks. So it's really unfortunate that it wasn't smelling when you bought it. I would have thought that, I mean, you know, yeah, that's a drag that when you first went to look at it, that it wasn't stinking, which could have put you off of it. That makes me suspicious to start with. Anyway, I hope that helps. Aaron says, I sense there is a story about a girl named Bubbles. No comment. Sounds like Hawaii. Groove Jet says Michael Jackson's monkey was called Bubbles. That's right, it was, wasn't it? How about that? Let's see. If you're just tuning in, a reminder to give me that thumbs up. Always appreciate those. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Ring the notification bell. Support the channel through my Amazon store. There's a link in the description below. Oh, that reminds me. I had a request for the Rhenology link. I am a Rhenology affiliate now, and I have added that link into the description of my how-to videos around RVing. And you'll get a 10% discount if you use the link and use 10% discount or whatever it says. I think it's 10% off or 10% discount or save 10% or whatever. It's in the description for this video. And then I'll get a small commission. And then also Rec Pro, if you're interested in RV products. Rec Pro is an awesome company. I bought my roof from them. I've bought all kinds of stuff from them. I'm not going to list it all off. But they're a great company, and they have a 5% discount they offer because, you know, if you use my link, and then I'll get a small commission again. But you pay the same price. There's no markup because there's a commission paid. They're just paying me for referring you to them. And your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Visit my website over at trbowling.com. I've got 3 different articles I'm working on right now. I went and helped a friend of a friend get his RV unstuck. He got to a spot where he shouldn't have been. Let's just leave it at that. And it took 2 4-wheel drive pickups to get him out. So I decided I was going to write an article. I might do a video about it, but I don't have any footage. I didn't have a camera with me. But about where not to park. Okay, let's see here. What's going on in the background here? Am I missing something? Okay, I think we're just having a good time. Groove Jet says, very clever, TR. You've always been an expert on gray water and maintenance and anything to do with tanks. It really is a tricky problem that you have mastered. Sounds easy, but it isn't. It's from experimenting and living with a stinking tank for way too long, Groove Jet, that I finally said, I'm going to fix this crap. I guess I can say that. And I just wanted to share the information. It's so simple once you figure it out. E-Travel Happy says they had a horrible chemical smell from the blue Campachems that we had used for years. After using the Geo method, all the smell is gone. There you go. Yeah, those blue ones. It's like, I mean, do you want to sleep in a porta potty? You know what I'm talking about. Those porta potties they have at festivals and I don't know, street fairs and flea markets. You want to sleep with that? Um, I don't. But thanks. Yeah, that's a good point. Aaron, you are the man. Thank you so much. Okay, so any other questions out there? If not, we may, well, I think we'll drag it out for 9 more minutes, just kind of chewing the fat here, but that's kind of pretty much, I think, where we're at this week. I'm hurting for content for Sunday on a truck camper video, so I might not get a video up this Sunday. It depends. It's been so cold, I didn't want to waste the money to heat the garage. And I need to get out and start polishing the windows and doing some of that stuff because soon enough I'll be able to get back to it. I guess I could chat. I know that there's been some questions. There's a lot of work to be done, and I think Ron mentioned that. And I've had a couple of questions come in, and I actually made a video about it. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that, about whether it was worth it. And for the money I'm going to have into it, yeah, it's worth it. If I'd mentioned, I don't want to put 10,000 bucks in it because it's not worth it. But if I get by putting 2,500 into it, maybe 3,000, then I think it's definitely worth it. I was looking at truck campers, and anything that was, newer than 15 years old was 7,500 to 10,000 or more dollars, and I just didn't want to spend that much money. If I was going to be in it more, if I was going to be spending a lot of time in it, I would have definitely invested in something else. But overall, the damage that's there, it looks bad, but it's really not that bad, right? I mean, there's just that one, just the part of the cab over is where the damage is. There were some leaks. You got to see in last Sunday's video if you watched it. A lot of the screws are leaky and rusty, and that's a sure sign that there's been water getting in underneath those screws. I was surprised at the way the doors were sealed on there. I mean, they were all with butyl tape, but the butyl was pretty hard on the sidewalls, which is understandable because they're sitting there in the sun all day. But the rusty screws had me concerned. But once I got the skin off, there's a little water damage here and there, and um, it's not going to be that big a deal to fix. You'll see. It might take me 2 episodes to get the whole front rebuilt. I pretty much have it figured out. Thank you, Aaron, for the warning. Scott, same to you, buddy. Tom Downey, real cold weather due soon. Well, it's all relative. Of course, I guess Texas got drilled last year. You got an RV with a generator. You're good to go. Tom says, I see new campers at 65K. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Scott Mogich, he says it was 15 below in his neck of the woods. Yeah, we're not quite that cold. We got down to 1 below on the 2nd of January. So 10 days ago, 9 days ago. That's as cold as it's been here. And I'm in eastern Idaho, Pocatello, intersection of I-15 and I-86. Tim Meyer says, looking forward to seeing the final result with the truck camper. Me too. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it, actually. And Two Feather says, new is not necessarily better. They make things cheap nowadays. Yeah, there's been a long-running discussion. In fact, we've had that discussion here. It's been a while, but we've had that discussion here on this program a number of times. The question has come up, do I think that the old rigs are better than the new ones? And I'd have to say, with a few exceptions, absolutely. I think that the quality of the older rigs is so much better. We had, who was that? He's in here a bit. The guy with the '98 Discovery looking for the door latch last week. But my point is, it's a 1998 Fleetwood Discovery. Okay, that is a 30. No, what is it? Somebody do the math for me real quick. 28-year-old camper. 28-year-old motorhome, still going strong. Larry McBride, who's out in Arkansas, who pops in and out. He's got an older rig that he's still running. I think the older rigs are much more solid. Tom Downey's got a Dutch Star, and you know, unfortunately, it's on a Spartan chassis. I got to dig you a little. The Freightliner is better. Now we got a Ford and Chevy argument going on, don't we? Anyway, yeah, we're not going to go there tonight. So, any other questions that you might have, go ahead and throw them over in the chat window. Wow, we're up to 30 viewers. Hey, everybody. It's so nice to have you here tonight. Drop a note over there and let me know where you're watching from. Just as a reminder, if you do have questions, it's so useful sometimes to get pictures like Two Feathers sent. And so you can email those to me, pictures, trbowlen at gmail.com. Larry McBride, there he is, 87 Allegro. Still going strong, still rolling down the road. So there you go. Yeah, so I think the older rigs, not always. I mean, we're not talking Prevos, Newells. Two Feathers, 2008 Winnebago. Aaron Jameson, a 2000 Bounder. I don't know. I just think the older rigs are just so much more solidly built. You didn't have when it was. I don't want to get in the weeds here too much, but I know there was a big, blow up when Newmar got bought by Winnebago, and all the Newmar people were, crapping bricks. And in fact, I still watch and read the Newmar, Facebook groups. There's many of them, but I follow a couple. And there's constant complaints now about the lack of customer service with Newmar. Now, I can tell you right now, with my experience in 2004, I could call them before, and they were Johnny on the spot, had answers for you, still supported their old rigs. It didn't matter how old they were. And I guess it's not quite that way anymore. I don't know. I don't have any first-hand experience with it because I haven't had to call Newmar for quite a while. Because I just have gotten to the point where everything I needed to talk to them about, I figured out. Anyway, let's go over here. Tom Downey says he's been offered $65K and it's a Mountain Air. Oh, you have a Mountain Air. Okay, so still solid rigs. Still just solid rigs. I would take one of them over anything else in a heartbeat. John Besmick says he was pulling his F-350 behind his diesel pusher and the hitch failed. Bummer. The hitch on your RV? Tom down a 2000 Mountain Air. There you go. 21-year-old Newmar Mountain Air. And the Mountain Air was in this series. It was like Dutch Star Mountain Air. I don't know, was it King Air or something like that? But Newmar builds $1 million coaches. John Besnick asks, who makes a hitch have enough for that pickup and also has full dress motorcycle in back, about 8,000 pounds? If I were home, I'd make one in my shop, but I'm not. Well, You need a class. Is that a class A, class C hitch, 10,000 pound hitch? Um, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what the hitch. Who made the hitch on my RV? Because it was rated for 10K. I never towed that much with it. My Subaru, the maximum was about 3,200. Yeah, I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Um, you might just call a hitch shop there or wherever you are in Florida and ask them. You might even be able to find a bolt on, um, depending upon, I mean, Dutch Star equals cheaper version. Yes, slightly. But my Dutch Star will run circles around your mountain air because it's a hot rod. Lola, hi Lola. We have not seen you for a long time. It's so nice to have you here. She says a trick on removing overhead plastic light covers. There's two tricks. One is squeeze it. So if it's a long one, like on a fluorescent tube, using both hands, get a hold of the fixture. I'm going to stay low here, and gently squeeze the outside in, and that will release the two little clips that hold it up into the fixture. The same on the round ones. Usually you can squeeze them gently, and if you squeeze them, that'll be enough to release it from the fixture. Or very gently pry it loose. Use a table knife. Just be careful. Don't go ranking on it. Try to get up underneath and over the top of it, and um, gently pop them out. So that should get you there. Oh, correction. John says no. The hitch from the RV to the pickup. Uh, well, the two that I know of are Roadmaster and Blue Ox, and they both have hitches, tow bars set up for 10K, but they are real expensive. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, that's right. Class 4 is 10K. Yeah, exactly right. So Blue Ox and Roadmaster both have uh, tow bars set up for 10K. Good night, Aaron. Thank you so much for your awesome job. We'll see you next week. You're welcome, John. Food Porn Chef asks, what's the meaning of life of an RVer? Well, if you're a full timer, it's to enjoy yourself until you don't, and then move to a new place where you enjoy yourself again. Yeah, Tom Downey, he says, 22-year-old coach, everything still works. I can drive mine. Yep, totally. Yeah, go over and check out Aaron's channel if you don't already. He's got a link there in the chat window. Place where I got the rubber weather tape that goes on doors and windows. I got it on Amazon. If you go over to my Amazon store, look in the section handy items for RV owners, you're going to find Eternabond tape, and it's right there. And that's the 4 inch. It comes in different widths. That's the 4 inch, but that'll get you there. And or you can go probably a lot of. Let's see, you're down in Quartzsite now, or you're headed that way. Uh, Thank you so much, Two Feathers. That's so awesome of you. The super chats are greatly appreciated. Thanks so much. I just can't say thanks enough. So I hope that helps you get there, Food Porn Chef. But yeah, you probably can find it at an RV supply store, um, or an RV dealer. But yeah, you're probably, as far as retail goes, I've never seen it sold at places like Home Depot or, um, you know, Your best bet might be Amazon to a Dropbox, since I know you're out there in the Arizona desert somewhere. Okay, well, that's 8:05, and we've kind of got to the end of the hour, and so I think it's time to wrap her up. Another great show. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your questions, either during the show or in the off hours. Be sure and just throw me an email if you have a question or a problem, and I'll do my dangest to try to figure it out for you if I don't already know the answer. So I guess we'll call her good. One last look. Food Porn Chef asks real quick, what do I think of the new Toyota Taco and Dolphin coming out again? I watched the build of the Toyota that they did for SEMA on the Toyota channel on YouTube. Tacozilla, they called it. And it looked really, really fun. But you're probably looking at 100,000, 80,000, 100,000 to get into something like that. Now the Dolphin, I didn't know they were bringing the Dolphin back out. I'll have to look into that, and I'll do that. I agree with you, Rich. Hope to see you soon, and yeah, let's hope it warms up. Thanks, Tom. Nice to have you here. Good night, travel happy. So nice for you to be here. John asks, can I email me the address to recommended RV park in Quartzsite? I don't know of an RV park. I know there's RV parks there. I don't know. I don't have one I could recommend because I've never stayed in an RV park when I've been to Quartzsite. I've always boondocked. I've always dry camped. But I'll look and see what I can find. Yes, it's in Arizona, Quartzsite, Arizona. Yes, Two Feathers. They are. Uh, go on YouTube and search for Tacozilla. Okay, Lola has a quick question, and then we're going to call it good. If the overhead light's LED flicker, does that mean there may be an electrical issue? The three in the bathroom flicker after a couple of minutes. Thanks for the answer. Well, it depends on how old they are, Lola. The flickering could be a sign of them just starting to fail. Uh, are they, and then the other question is are they the LEDs that are the replacement bulbs for like the incandescents? I think those are called the 194s. But if they're 194s and they're the ones, that go into the socket, the LEDs might last 50,000 hours, but the dang light itself might last 200, depending upon the quality and where you got it from. And there's a couple of other things there. So, if it's only in the bathroom, yeah, I wouldn't expect electrical because it's only in one room. It could also be a loose wire on a switch, but it's after a couple of minutes. That means they're getting hot. And so I suspect that it's the LED itself. And in particular, if it's one of those that are the replacement type LED bulbs, yeah, you might have to replace those. They're not known for being really high quality or having a long life, especially the cheap ones. Okay, I think we'll call her good. Thanks, everybody. It's so nice to have you here tonight, and we'll see you all next week. And until then, peace. Bye-bye.